Welcome to the Digital Edge. Get ready, because today we're diving into the really incredible story of William Tanuwijaya.
The co-founder of Tokopedia, right?
Exactly. And it's more than just, building a big e-commerce company. It's a story about persistence, about overcoming some serious obstacles.
Yeah, it really is a classic, almost rags to riches tale for the digital age in Indonesia.
Totally. We'll be drawing from talks with William himself, articles on Tokopedia's journey, all that good stuff.
Okay, let's get into it. His early life, it really sets the stage.
Yeah.
Born in North Sumatra, definitely humble beginnings.
Right. Not exactly handed things on a silver platter. He moved to Jakarta for university, had to work, 12 hours a day?
Yeah, long shifts at an internet cafe just to pay for his IT degree at Universitas Bina Nusantara, graduated in '03.
That's some serious hustle. And he worked various tech jobs after that, right?
Yeah.
Software developer, even game development for a bit.
Telcom Sigma, Squiva System, Bolinet. Then later, IT and business development manager at Indicom Media Tama, starting in '06. So he was definitely building experience.
But the big spark for Tokopedia, it came from a really personal, almost frustrating experience.
The bookstore, yeah, he talks about having to travel 3 hours just to buy a book he needed.
3 hours, that just perfectly captures the problem. He saw how centralized commerce was, how hard it was to access things across Indonesia.
Exactly, and that became the core idea. Use technology to, democratize commerce, as he puts it.
Yeah.
Make things accessible to everyone.
But I mean, pitching that back then, e-commerce in Indonesia wasn't established, and he didn't have this fancy background.
Oh, the pushback was real. He's mentioned the worst advice he got was basically someone telling him to stop daydreaming.
Wow.
Yeah, that he couldn't be like the Silicon Valley founders because of his background. Imagine hearing that.
That's crushing, but clearly it didn't stop him. So 2007 is when the work really starts.
Right. He teams up with Leontinus Alpha Edison. They start building Tokopedia with that C2C, consumer-to-consumer vision.
Connecting buyers and sellers directly, for free, empowering the little guys, the small businesses.
Precisely. No big warehouses full of their own stuff, just facilitating the connections. They launched officially February 6, 2009, and then opened public access August 17th.
Independence Day, nice touch. But getting traction, getting investors, that was tough going early on.
Definitely. It took time to build trust and prove the model. Eventually, PT Indonesia Duitama came in with that first crucial investment.
And that C2C model, focusing on those MSMEs, the micro, small, and medium enterprises, was so central. Toko, Shoppedia, encyclopedia, a shop for everything.
It was smart. But the biggest hurdle, arguably, was trust. How do you convince people to send money to strangers online?
Yeah, that's fundamental.
William tells this great story about his father-in-law being super skeptical.
Uh-huh.
And the breakthrough moment, this was clever, was introducing things like paying utility bills or topping up mobile phone credit on Tokopedia.
Okay. Things people already did and trusted.
Exactly. Suddenly, Tokopedia wasn't just this unknown marketplace. It was useful, familiar, like you said, an ATM in your mobile phone. It lowered that barrier.
That's brilliant. You use the familiar to build confidence in the new. So people came for the bills, maybe stayed to browse.
Pretty much. It got them comfortable using the platform. Then, the focus could shift more towards scaling, growing the user base, even if profits weren't immediate.
A common tech startup playbook, right? Grow first. And that growth attracted the big money later.
Oh, yeah. 2014, they got $100 million from SoftBank and Sequoia. Huge validation. Then even bigger rounds, like $1.1 billion led by Alibaba and SoftBank in 2017, 2018.
That's serious capital, fueling tech infrastructure.
And partnerships became key too. Logistics with J&E, J&T Express, payments with OVO, GoPay, infrastructure with Kelcom, building that whole ecosystem.
Which all culminated in a way with the Gojek merger in 2021.
Right, forming GoTo Group. Suddenly, they're this massive digital powerhouse in Indonesia, covering everything from ride-hailing to e-commerce to finance.
And then adding the TikTok shop business in Indonesia last year just solidified things even more.
Absolutely. TikTok investing over $1.5 billion for a controlling stake. It keeps Tokopedia right at the forefront.
It's an incredible trajectory. But what I find interesting is how William talks about needing to keep that underdog spirit.
Yeah, even after all that success, he seems genuinely wary of becoming complacent, irrelevant, like other market leaders before them.
He even mentioned how idols can become rivals and then maybe even partners, referencing Alibaba.
It points to his focus on continuous evolution and always grounding it in solving actual local problems in Indonesia. That's the foundation.
He talks about dreaming big, but with eyes open, matching the dream with the words and the actions. Consistency.
And he applies that internally too, believing in meritocracy, questioning if the young William Tanuwijaya could even get hired at Tokopedia today.
That's quite the self-reflection exercise.
It is, and it ties into that advice he values. Limit yourself to become limitless. Like investors betting on local champions who understand the market deeply.
So the focus remains very much on Indonesia, even with aspirations for wider recognition someday.
It seems so. Serve the home market incredibly well first. That's the priority.
So wrapping this up, for you, the learner, listening in, William's journey is just packed with lessons. Resilience is huge.
Definitely. And that focus on solving a real fundamental problem, the access issue, rather than just chasing a trend.
Plus the adaptability, like introducing bill payments to build trust or merging with OJEC to create a stronger ecosystem, and never losing that hunger, that underdog drive.
So maybe the question to reflect on is, how can you cultivate or maintain that underdog spirit in what you do? How do you avoid complacency?
And think about the barriers around you. Are there any that you specifically are uniquely positioned to understand and maybe even overcome, just like William did with Indonesian commerce?
Some powerful things to consider there.
Absolutely. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of The Digital Edge.
Great discussion. Until next time.
This has been The Digital Edge.